Hey guys, welcome to the Fans Voice. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about my boys, Pittsburgh Steelers. So they made some good moves in the free agency yesterday. I'm really happy about it. But let's start off with Pittsburgh trading for Michael Pittman Jr. So Pittsburgh got Michael Pittman and they swapped late round picks. To me, that is absolutely amazing. Like, honestly, you got him for freaking pennies. I really like it. Pairing him up with DK Metcalf, they are setting up for whoever is going to be the quarterback coming in to Pittsburgh. It's the best wide receiver room we've had in a while, and I think they have done so much already to try to at least compete. And then then after that they go and they signed Jamel Dean to a 3-year, $36 million contract, and he did really good this past season. And now we got him across from JPJ, both bigger corners. And JPJ was locked down last season. He didn't allow any touchdowns. He hasn't allowed a touchdown in essentially 3 seasons. And he also allowed the second least amount of receiving yards out of any defensive back. So Pittsburgh's secondary just got a whole lot better. And then when Deshaun Elliott comes back from injury, him and Jalen Ramsey are going to be a great safety combination along with their corners on the outside. And then signing Asante Samuel to a 1-year, $4 million deal. Pretty sure he can play outside and inside. So I think we got a really good cornerback room going on right now. And sadly, Kenny G signed with Tampa, so we didn't have him. So I was like, okay, maybe Pittsburgh's going to be drafting a running back. Or yeah, I thought they were going to draft a running back. Nope, they went and signed Rico Dowdle, who just had a 1,000-yard season, and he did pretty good the last couple of seasons. So pairing him up with Jalen Warren, it's going to be a really, really good combination. I like it. They're really setting up this season very nicely. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. But that leads me into what they're going to do in the draft. They spent 13 of their 40 formal interviews at the draft with wide receivers. So at one point I was like, hey, they're going to go wide receiver in the first round. They could very well still do it, but I'm leaning more towards I don't think they are. It's hard to say what they're going to do. I mean, like they could still go and get somebody just because setting up for the future, because who knows how long Pittman is going to be there. I mean, like they signed him to 3 years. And if you can get a good wide receivers 1, 2, and 3, you're set. Like if somebody does go down, at least you know your third is really good. I think Pittsburgh is looking really, really good right now. But right now, it's hard to say what they're going to do in the first round. I got a couple of ideas. I think one of their options is they're going to stay where they're at, and then they're going to draft Ione at pick 21 to help. He's the guard out of Penn State, and that's going to replace losing Isaac Sumalo, which I do like that one. But then I can also see them trading up, and there's 3 players I could see Pittsburgh trading up for, and they're actually all Ohio State. First one I see them trading up for, not this isn't in order in all honesty, but the 2 most likely I see them trading up for, one is Carnell Tate, and then another one is Caleb Downs. Yeah, they're going to have to get into a top 10 with it, but they can do it. They'll have to give up a lot of draft capital, but they also have a lot of picks, so you might as well use them to trade up. And then the other one, not as likely, is Sony Styles. I don't know why I have this inner voice in me telling me, oh yeah, that could be an option. But I mean, if he's there and they like him that much, they could go for him. I mean, he would be great in coverage. He's a great blitzer. He's a great tackler. So why not? And him and for future purposes, you draft him and Peyton Wilson would be able to lock down the linebacker room, and they wouldn't need to keep Patrick Queen anymore. But I did 2 mock drafts. I'm going to show them to you. One of them where I traded up, one of them where I stayed back. I did trade back in the one where I stayed at in the first round, trade back in the second round. But let me show that to you. So this is where I just stayed at pick 21 and I drafted Ione. Like I said, need to replace Isaac Sumalo, and he would be a great replacement. And then I went and got Demetrius Crownover. This guy, he's a massive offensive lineman. He also used to play tight end, so we'll be able to use him in some cool packages. I mean, why not have a guy that's that big that you can have go out and routes, have 2 giant behemoths going out with Darnell Washington and him. Yeah, I think Demetrius Crownover could come in there. I know he did play right tackle, but he's really good in pass protection. So you could honestly move him over to left tackle. They do it all the time. I mean, when they drafted Fautanu, he was a left tackle, but they moved him over to right because he kind of played that position on the left side because he had Penix at quarterback. Next up, I grabbed Davison Igbinozum. I know we got a corner, but I really like this guy. I think he's got a similar game to Joey Porter Jr. I mean, you got this guy in the third round. He gets to learn. He gets to learn the system for a couple seasons, and he gets some rotational. He could be a rotational corner. I think he'd be a really good addition to this defense and be a future piece across from Joey Porter Jr. Then I grabbed Darrell Jackson. He's a big defensive tackle who can get after the quarterback. He's not like this really explosive athletic guy, but he is really strong, really powerful. He can stop the run and he can still get after the quarterback. I got Jalen Kilgore. I really like him. He's got some versatility. He can cover. He can tackle really good. You can use him as a nickel corner, or you can just keep him as a nice box safety. I think he's going to be able to do some good things. I really like him, and whoever gets him is going to get a nice steal because he's going to go like late third, early fourth round, and I think he has the potential to be really, really good. Next up, I grabbed Aiden Fisher. He's a very smart linebacker. He can read a defense. He can command your defense. I know he's not very big, but the fact that he can read an offense, he can put your players in the right position to confuse the offense and also the best matchups for your defense, it comes a long way. He's a good tackler, but a lot of the times you see some of these smaller linebackers having trouble. But to be honest, I'm not too worried about that. That's something that can be worked on. Size and strength can be worked on. Next up, I went with Nicholas Singleton. Wasn't a big fan of what Johnson did coming into last season. I think he was very underwhelming. I had high hopes for him. I thought he was going to be really good, but he didn't really do much, so I decided to bring in Nicholas Singleton, who is a really good running back. If he would have went to into the draft last year, he would have gone second, third round. But he's here, and I think it was an injury that kept him sidelined and why his draft stock isn't very high. But I like him. I like the Penn State running backs. I like the Notre Dame running backs, and I like Mike Washington. But I didn't want to grab those the other guys earlier because I wanted to actually fill in some positions of need. This is just somebody who can be a rotational piece, and I think could be really good in the league, and maybe one day take the reins at running back one. Next up, I grabbed Malachi Fields, deep ball threat. That's really the only reason I got him. And the other reason is because he doesn't really drop the ball. He had a 1.8%. drop rate. The next up is Lewis Bond. He's not the biggest, but he has high IQ, really good hands. He also has a low drop rate at 2.7%. He's also a really, really good route runner. He can go in there and be a slot guy. And then I grabbed Caden Curry out of Ohio State, just get backup, rotational, who knows? Because who knows what Pittsburgh's going to be doing with their edge rushers right now. Now we got 4 good ones. We got a really good edge rushers, but what if Nick Herbig's like, I want to get paid and doesn't want to play? Or Pittsburgh's like, all right, Nick Herbig's doing really good and we really want to keep him and he's younger than Alex Highsmith, and they decide to trade Alex Highsmith. So now we got at least a backup to Caden Curry, who did not do bad at all at Ohio State. So he could come in there and be another rotational piece. And he's got an old buddy of his, Jack Sawyer, there with him. Don't know too much about Tyler Onyedem, but it's just more depth piece. It's not the biggest, it's not the smallest, but usually I need to look him up some more, but usually defensive tackles about his size are pretty good at getting after the quarterback, which is the reason why I grabbed him. And then next up, I grabbed Jack Strand. He's got similar size as Will Howard. He has some mobility where he can at least get away from the pass rush. He reads a defense very, very well. He just got some mechanics that he's got to work on. And I know he has a quick trigger, but he's a developmental piece that can come in and be a backup at least. I like him. I think he has really good potential. And as you see, when I traded back, I did trade back with the Bears. That's how I got 129. I thought trading back 4 spots, giving them 237 and getting 129 it was a steal. But next up, I'm going to show you where I traded up. I gave up a lot. But I think I think I gave up less than what it could have been. Gave up essentially 3 picks this year, 2 next year to trade up to pick 8 and grab Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs is going to be a monster. I think he is a generational safety coming out of college. You know, he fits that Nick Emenwari, Kyle Hamilton mold. And I think those kind of safeties are starting to become really big in this league. They're starting to show that they are some of the more valuable players because they're there to stop the run. They are creating the turnovers, they're creating the pressures. They are covering very well. Caleb Downs, he can cover really good. He can play nickel, he can play safety. He may not be that blanket safety, but he is still pretty good in coverage. He's a sure tackler. He tackles tight ends who are much bigger than him with ease. I really like him. So now I grabbed Cage Casey at offensive guard. He was my second choice at guard in that position. That's when I'm looking to grab a guard. I actually would have preferred the guard out of Oklahoma. I cannot pronounce his name, but he plays left and right guard, and he also can play center. I like the versatility, and I think he could come in and start at left guard. And, you know, of course, if for some reason injuries happen, he can move over. I like the versatility, but grab Cage Casey. He played offensive tackle, but there is a strong belief that he's gonna be moved inside to guard. So I'm grabbing him on the assumption that he's going to be moving inside to guard. He's a really good blocker, and we need to be able to replace Sumla, who just left. All right, so now I got Turian York. He is like 5'11", 230 pounds, not very big at all, but he's really fast. He closes in on the ball carrier fast. He very smart. He can cover very well. The only thing that can be notched on him really is his size. And they say his tackling, but I mean, if Caleb Downs could come in there and tackle a guy who's 6'5", 250 pounds, I think Torian York can do the same because he's at least got more weight than Caleb Downs. That's something I'm not too worried about because one, your weight can be worked on. You can gain muscle and get bigger. And two, tackling is something you can work on as well. Not too worried about it. I think he can come in there and learn the system and be a nice rotational piece in there at linebacker. I like him. I think it'd be a really good pick. Got Lewis Bond. He's one of my favorite wide receivers coming into this draft. You already heard me talk about him previously. Next up is Jeff Caldwell. He's very raw at wide receiver. He really needs to work on his routes, and his hands can be worked on. As in, it's weird because he has too many drops, but he can also make some crazy catches because he's got such an amazing catch radius because he's 6'5", 215. He's a really good deep threat. Right now, he's got the simple routes down, but he just needs to work. His biggest thing, he needs to work on his routes. He rounds things out too much. He needs to make them a lot sharper. And I think his hands are going to get better. Really only got him just to have a nice deep threat because he runs like a 4.36. He's a large person. Next up, I grabbed Drew Aller. Last year, he was projected before he decided to stay. He was projected to go early, and before his injury, he was projected to be a second round pick. But his injury dropped him down. He's got the talent. He's just got some mechanics that need to be worked on. He's a developmental piece and a backup worthy. And I think McCarthy would be able to bring out the most in him. And then I grabbed Jaeger Burton just as a backup piece because you can never have too many backup offensive linemen. I know that, it's pretty, they're pretty similar, but this is a way to fill in a lot of the holes that are needed. Pittsburgh's already filled in some decent amount of holes already in the free agency. I like what they're doing. I really like the Caleb Downs pick if they were to get him. I didn't spend too much, and we have an abundant in picks right now. Pittsburgh's got 12 picks. Use those picks, trade up. I don't know if that would do it, but that's what I got for it. And I'm okay with Pittsburgh trading up for him or Carnell Tate or Sonny Styles. Let me know what you guys think of these drafts. Which one do you like better? Or which one or more of what would you do in the first round? But don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk with you guys later.